Hello, everyone, and happy Ram Navami. Today we're celebrating Ram Navami, and so I'm going to be offering you a quick summary of the great Ramayana, which tells us the story of Lord Ram's appearance on Earth. And my name is Giridhari Das, and this is the 3T Path channel. So let's get started. So the summary of the Ramayana. Um, the Ramayana is an ancient and much loved um, epic poem about an incarnation of the Supreme Lord on Earth some 18 million years ago as Ramchandra, the ideal king. The story is rich with intrigue, heroism, romance, and adventure, as well as terrifying monsters and creatures, strange enough to put science fiction to shame. Even stranger to the modern mind is that this story must be understood as completely real. Here we see Lord Ramchandra or Ram in a greenish complexion, accompanied by his brother Lakshmana and a great monkey hero by the name of Hanuman. The story recounts Ram's wonderful qualities and plans for him to be crowned king, plans temporarily prevented from coming to fruition, and his subsequent exile in the forest for many years, where he defeated and killed many dangerous demons. Near the end of the exile, his wife Sita was kidnapped by the most dangerous of all demons, the 10 headed Ravana. Ram, exiled from his legitimate army, found help in a race of intelligent apes, and a great battle ensued. When Ram and Lakshmana were young men just coming of age, the sage Vishvamrita requested their help, asking them to defeat the powerful Rakshasa demons who were disturbing the sacrifices performed by the sages for the good of the world. Sacrifices began, night fell, and demons attacked, polluting the sacrificial arena with impure substances such as blood and other bodily constituents. Ram and Lakshmana, having been well trained in the use of weapons, shot the demons with arrows and hurled them hundreds of kilometers into the ocean. The boy's father, King Dasarath, had expressed a desire to find them suitable wives, whereupon Vishvamrita next took them to the kingdom of Mithila. There, King Janaka would hold a ceremony in order to choose a husband for his daughter Sita. The requirement set by him was that the man to marry his daughter would have to be able to lift and string a great bow which had been Lord Shiva's. The bow was mystically heavy, and as a result of which it took 300 men to pull the box in which it was kept, and until then, no one had been able to even lift it. Ram easily lifted the bow and not only strung it, but drew back the string and bent it until it snapped with a great crack, the force of which caused everyone in the assembly to stagger back. Sita garlanded Ram with a garland of fresh flowers to indicate that she had accepted him as her husband. Time passed happily in Ayodhya. King Dasaratha decided to retire and crown Ram the next king. The city rejoiced and made preparations for the great festival. One person, however, was not happy. Mantara was such a person, the hunchbacked maid of Queen Kaikeyi, the youngest of King Dasaratha's three queens, and also his favorite. Mantara approached Kaikeyi and convinced her that she, Kaikeyi, now had no future. Confabulating in secret, the two women hatched a conspiracy involving two special favors that Dasaratha had once promised to bestow on Kaikeyi many years ago when she had saved him on a battlefield. At that time, she hadn't decided what she wanted and had saved the favors for a time when she might need them. Queen Kaikei retired to the inner room of her apartments, a room reserved for the disposition of discontent. She let go of her hair, threw her jewelry across the room, and lay down on the floor. When Dasaratha found her there, he asked her what was wrong, to which she replied that she now wished to receive the two favors owed her. When her concerned husband promised to grant her anything she wanted, she said, "Grant me that my son Bharata be crowned king instead of Ram, and exile Ram to the forest for 12 years." Dasaratha could not go back on his promise, and no one could dissuade Kaikeyi from his resolve. Dasaratha was a heartbroken man. Ram accepted the order to go to the forest as if it were a request from his own father, and both his brother Lakshman and his wife Sita insisted on accompanying him in such exile. All of them wore bark costumes, which were eagerly provided by Kaikeyi. A charioteer led them out of the city. The entire population, moved by grief and love for Lord Ram, followed them and slept in the forest with them. However, early in the morning, before the citizens woke up, the exiled group silently boarded the chariot in order to escape the people. Lakshman built a cottage for Ram and Sita, and there they all lived a simple and humble life for many years. The sages and hermits of the surrounding forest often came to visit them and requested protection from the Rakshasa demons who were attacking and killing sages. Ram and Lakshman killed many such man eating demons over the years. One day, a demoness named Shurpanakha happened to pass by the cottage. Hiding in the trees, she contemplated the beauty of Ram's form and desired him sexually. She approached Ram and requested him to leave his skinny wife, Sita, and marry her. Rama had taken a vow not to take any other wives than Sita, even though the culture of his time allowed him to have many wives. He mocked her. "I am married, but why don't you stay with my younger brother, who has no wife here with him?" She turned her gaze to Lakshman and found him very attractive as well. Lakshman, however, also joined the same game, offering Ram as the best choice. Enraged, Shurpanaka suddenly attacked Sita, whereupon Lakshman, in an instant, cut off Shurpanaka's nose and ears. Surpanaka first turned to her brother Kara, who had an army at his disposal. Seeing his sister's disfigurement and feeling that his position as the demon lord of the forest had been insulted, Kara first sent 14 warrior demons to kill the three humans. Ram, however, slew them all. Whereupon Kara rallied his army with thousands of warriors and went on the attack. Ram slew all Kara's troops, and his horses, charioteer, chariot, and bow were all destroyed. After a duel, Kara himself was slain, and Ram proved completely victorious. Lakshman took no part in this contest. He stood guarding Sita. Shurpanaka then went to her elder brother, Ravana by name, the most dangerous of all Rakshasa demons, he who was possessed of 10 heads. Cunning in her methods of seeking revenge, she not only tearfully reported to Ravana of her disfigurement and the death of her brother Kara, but also found opportunity to mention to Ravana that Sita was the most beautiful woman in the world. Ravana, famous for defeating and terrorizing the demigods, was also known for his harem, which he amassed by kidnapping wives and princesses from across the universe. Now he became obsessed with the idea of stealing Sita from Ram. Ravana came up with a plan. Maricha, a Rakshasa friend of his, would disguise himself as a golden deer, mystical and beautiful, and appear near the cabin of Ram, Sita, and Lakshman. Sita, enraptured by the sight of it, asked Ram to capture the little deer as a pet. Rama actually agreed to go into the forest with the intention of trying to capture the deer. However, since Lakshman suspected something behind it, Ram ordered Lakshman to remain in the cottage and give protection to Sita. In the forest, Ram suspected treachery and shot an arrow to kill the mystic deer. As Maricha lay in agony, he struggled to explain, "Help, Lakshman, help," which he did with Ram's voice. Hearing this, Sita begged Lakshman to go to the aid of Ram. Lakshman drew a mystic circle of protection around Sita in the cottage and told Sita to remain within the circle. He then left to find Ram. Once he was gone, Ravana came to the cottage in the guise of an elderly Brahmana, weakened from lack of food. Moved with compassion, Sita offered him food, stepping out of the circle to do so. Ravana immediately revealed his true nature and kidnapped Sita. Not finding Sita, Ram ran through the forest, wailing as he exclaimed Sita's name and asked if anyone knew of her whereabouts. Meanwhile, Ravana, having crossed the ocean, had carried Sita to his kingdom of Lanka, where he left her under guard, surrounded by demons in a small grove. Due to a curse, Ravana, fearing death, did not dare force himself on a woman, but he counted on winning Sita over by his considerable masculine charm. In the event of the failure of his masculine charm, he told Sita that if she did not accept him at the end of a year, he would devour her for breakfast. The demigod Indra came to Sita with a bowl of sweet rice, which, having been offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was spiritual food. Sweet rice carried the blessing that whoever ate it would never feel hungry. Ram and Lakshman found the dying bird Jatayu, who had been struggling with Ravan and trying to help Sita. The brothers then set off through the forest towards the ocean, hundreds of kilometers away. On the way, they were suddenly captured by a gigantic and terrible demon named Kadamba, who was headless and had arms 8 miles long. Ram and Lakshman struggled, cutting off his great arms, and Kabanda fell to the ground. In the jungle, Ram and Lakshman met the monkeys Sugriva, Hanuman, and their companions, who agreed to help Ram in the fight against Ravan. A group of monkeys was sent south towards the ocean, having been told by a witness that Sita had been carried across the ocean. The monkeys selected Hanuman as the only one able to jump over it. Thus Hanuman became huge and leapt from the top of a mountain, flying over the waves to Lanka in search of Sita. Having reached Lanka, Hanuman imperceptibly made himself small and walked around the city until he found Sita in the small grove surrounded by sleeping demons. At first, Sita suspected that this might be another ruse by Ravana to torment her, but Hanuman convinced her otherwise. This by singing the glories of Ram, describing him correctly, and finally presenting her with Ram's ring, which she recognized. Hanuman was captured by Ravana's soldiers, who, not taking a monkey messenger very seriously, decided to humiliate him rather than kill him. They set fire to his tail, but he retaliated by setting the city on fire. He uttered a warning that Ravana's kingdom was doomed to ruin on account of the offense of Sita's being kidnapped, whereupon he again leaped across the ocean to bring tidings to Lord Ram. Ram had an army of millions of monkeys, but there was a large body of water between his troops and his objective. The demigod of the ocean promised, however, that stones would float so that a bridge could be built. The monkeys worked hard, carrying not only boulders but trees as well to build the bridge, which was eventually completed. The entire army of monkeys marched through it. The city of Lanka woke up the next morning surrounded by millions of monkey soldiers. Ravana also had vast troops of demons at his disposal, and a great battle ensued. The battle raged on for days. Since he was losing his most important generals, Ravana decided that it was time to awaken Kumbhakarna from his sleep. Kumbhakarna was Ravana's brother. His unique attribute was that, in fact, that he was a giant. Long ago, he created chaos in the universe by eating too many people, which made the demigods curse him to sleep 364 days a year, waking up only one day to eat. When Kumbhakarna finally awoke and joined the battle, he would annihilate thousands of monkeys with a mere swing of his mace. And with his hands, he would take handfuls of monkeys, 30 at a time, and raise them to his mouth to eat them. The monkeys hurled rocks and mountain tops at him, but to no avail. Finally, Ram killed him, first cutting off one arm, then the other, then his legs, and finally his head. The battle raged, and Ram and Lakshman were wounded so badly by special arrows that it was thought that only a specific herb from the Himalayan mountains could save them. Hanuman again leaped to the heavens and flew to the Himalayas. However, upon reaching the mountain, he found that the mountain did not reveal to him the specific herb that was needed. He therefore lifted the entire mountain and took it with him to the battlefield, where experts could find the herb and treat Ram and Lakshman as well as the entire army of monkeys. All of Ravana's generals had been killed, and now Ravana personally challenged Ram. For the occasion, Indra had given Lord Ram a chariot of gold, and the two engaged in a mighty and vigorous battle. Ram shot arrows that severed Ravana's head, but with each head that fell, another one grew as Ravana continued to shoot arrows at Ram. Finally, Ram fixed a great mystical arrow to his bow and struck Ravana in the heart, ending his life. The great war is over. Sita was returned to Ram, but Ram pretended to be suspicious of her. Had Sita been faithful to him or not? He offered her freedom. With her heart crushed, Sita prepared a pyre, lit it, and stepped into the flames. In the next instant, the god of fire, Agni, returned her completely unharmed and said to Lord Ram, "You must accept her, Lord. She is completely pure." Ram then took her back very affectionately. He told her, I knew you were faithful to me. I wanted, however, to prove this to the whole world so that no one could say anything against you. In this way, they happily reunited again. The appointed time for the period of exile then came to an end, and it was time for the return to Ayodhya. Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Sugriva, Hanuman, and many others boarded Ravana's wonderful plain of flowers, which had been stolen from the demigods, and flew back to Ayodhya. Bharata, the brother of Ram, for whom exile had been plotted, had never accepted the position of king, but had ruled the kingdom as Ram's representative. There was great rejoicing at the triumphant return of Ram, the rightful, perfect, all blessed king. The end. So that's the story. Very quick summary of the story of the Ramayana of Lord Ram. And we can enjoy this day, ask for Ram's protection, the very symbol of Dharma. The beautiful thing about Ram is that he's the symbol of Dharma, of all that is correct, of doing, following the righteous path. So in this day, we should follow, redouble our efforts to have our lives fixed in the path of Dharma. And of course, in bhakti, following the footsteps of Hanuman, always dedicating our lives to serving the Lord. So, Lord Ram ki jai, Rama Navami ki jai, Hare Krishna.